Hi everyone, this is your Zoom tutorial for setting up your desktop or your laptop. You go to zoom.com. If you don't already have an account of your own, you just go to this sign up, it's free. You enter in your email address and you just follow the prompts. Now this will be for your own personal account for when you are attending a meeting. So if Gretchen sets up a staff meeting for us, this is how we would attend it, but it won't be the account that you use for when you're coaching. That'll be the Infinity account. So once you've done this, you're good to go as far as being an attendee. And now we're going to go up to this sign in area. So I already have the information on there, and we'll make sure that the email address and password are given to you in the GroupMe so that way you can refer to it. So it's the Infinity Dance Studio IF at gmail.com and the password. I've got it saved so that way it just fills itself in. You can also do that from your phone. When I do that tutorial, I'll show you how you can toggle back and forth. It's super nice. So we're going to sign in. Now, only one person can have a meeting on this account at a time. And so Gretchen has a schedule. Students will know when to come, and they will know where to go. This is our meeting ID and the link to get to that meeting. We're going to make sure that our families have this information, but as far as you hosting it, all you need to do is hop on this account at the time, that your class is scheduled, and you just go to host a meeting with video on. Now, when you first set up your Zoom onto your computer, it'll ask you if you want to use their little application. I did set it up. The application helps it run a little bit more smoothly, but you can totally do just the web browser. You don't have to have a separate application. If you don't want it, just hit cancel and it'll continue to launch on their web browser. I do like the app because it runs a little more smoothly. It's a little bit less grainy, and so it is nice for that. So I'm going to go ahead and select open for that since I have it. There's my little pop-up down at the bottom there, and it's going to connect me automatically, and we're going to join with computer audio. I have my camera covered up right now. You can still kind of see me in my precarious little way of recording my screen. So I just left it that way so it would be a little less distracting as we go through all the different options. I'm going to go through what each of these are and how to use them. And then I encourage you to use your own personal account you can hop on without having a full meeting. You can just get on and do what I'm doing and just kind of play with things a little bit. Or as coaches, you guys can set up a meeting together and just kind of play with it together and see what it looks like before you have classes. And of course, just let your students know the first time you run through, like, hey, this is my first time running through this as a class, so bear with me and be patient. But it's pretty easy to use and it's pretty fun too. So when you are in your meeting, I'm going to go a little out of order on these. What we're going to do when we start meetings with our classes is we're going to hit this record button. And what that's going to allow us to do is save these meetings. So if we have students that can't attend for whatever reason, they can go back and watch and get their attendance. So you're always going to want to record to the cloud. It'll ask you that on the desktop. It gives you the option between the computer and the cloud. Always select the cloud because it's what's going to save it to Infinity's account as opposed to your computer. And I believe on the phone, it'll only let you save to the cloud. So we're going to hit record to the cloud, and I'll show you where we can access that later. So now we're recording. Okay, and then once you are recording, you can pause it if you need to. If you need to tend to kids or dogs or the UPS guy ringing your doorbell or whatever, you can always pause this and just have everybody sit tight. It's just so that way it's not recording things that aren't pertinent for the students that might be watching later on. And same with stop recording. If if after class there's like 5 minutes or so that you're just catching up with your students, you can go ahead and stop the recording unless you want to have that there for your other students. So that's that part. Now over here, everyone has this mute button. So your attendees have it and you have it. So if you start coughing, the dog starts barking, whatever, you can hit mute and it makes it so nobody can hear you for a few minutes. Same with the video. If you have any incident that comes up where you just need everybody to hang out for a minute but not disconnect, you can stop your video, you can mute, you can do both, and it's a nice option to have just in case. Working from home can be kind of crazy. And then under these, there's some different options for both your microphone and your camera. Like I said, you're welcome to get on and kind of play with these and see, but neither of these options is necessary to run a meeting. As far as the invite button, all of your students will just know where to go and what time to go, so you won't necessarily need to invite people, but that option is there. If somebody's having a hard time getting on, you can send an invite to their email, the email that they set up with Zoom, but we don't anticipate that being a big problem. This is where you can manage your participants. When you select that, it'll show everybody who's in on your meeting. Obviously, it's just me right now. But from here, if you have a student who maybe they don't realize that there's a lot of background noise going on, you can mute them. And if they don't realize that maybe they didn't hear you, ask them, because they can mute themselves. But if for some reason you need to mute somebody, you can. Under the More option, when you're the host, obviously I can't really kick myself out. But if for some reason, and again, we don't anticipate this being a problem, but if there's somebody on the meeting that shouldn't be, maybe it's a student that's in the wrong class, maybe it's just somebody you don't recognize at all and you can't identify them, you can kick somebody out. And obviously we're not going to be kicking regular students out, but just in case something happens, that is an option. The next option here is share screen. Now this is really great. Maybe you're going to want to have some visuals, and you can share your screen. This is the current screen I'm on. My Zoom screen. There's a whiteboard screen. If you have your phone or your iPad connected to your computer, you can share what's on there. And then this is a file I have pulled up. This is my Photoshop. If you have a PowerPoint set up, if you have a website you want to share, anything like that, you can do that all here. And then we're not going to share right now. And then here, you can select here, this one participant can share at a time. Basically means when I'm talking, I'm the person you see on the screen. If you have a student that starts talking, they are seen on the screen. And so you can even ask your students during class to everybody mute right now while I give instruction, and then we'll allow audio for, for when we kind of get into it together, however you want to do that. And then also, there's multiple participants can share simultaneously, which you can imagine with a bunch of students, it can get a little crazy. So you can decide how you want to set that up. Just as an aside, when I worked at a company where we did these, we all telecommuted and we did these once a week, we would just mute until we needed to talk or until we had a sharing time, just to make it easier to pay attention. This next option, this is really great. There's a chat option. So kind of like with, when you see on Facebook Lives and Instagram Lives, while somebody's talking, people can ask questions or provide content. I think it's more real time than Facebook Live. I think it pops up immediately when somebody sends it. And so it's kind of nice, if you have a question for your students and you need them all to answer, you can see it all over there. You can see who's typing it, and it keeps everybody from kind of talking over each other. If you decide you want to save your chats, you can totally do that. There's different options down there. But it's a really great way to get feedback from your students while you're trying to teach without them talking over each other. And then maybe even after class, you can go over it all, just kind of a fun thing there. And then these reactions, it's just somebody can clap or give you a thumbs up, just kind of cute. If by chance you aren't having an easy time getting your students to mute, if you need them to, you can mute them all at the same time. You can unmute them all at the same time. And then there's just more. You can have an enter and exit chime, so if people are coming and going. You can mute people as they come in. And then you can lock your meeting. Once everybody's in there, you can go ahead and lock it so nobody else can come in accidentally. So there's lots of different options in there to help you run your class the way that works best for you and for your students. So I'm going to hop out of here. When you are done with your meeting, you just can exit out. When you're the host, we recommend doing the end meeting for all. Otherwise, it just leaves a bunch of people in the meeting, and then it makes it hard for other coaches to go and start their next meet or the next classroom when it's their turn. So end meeting for all, and that gets you out of there. So I'm going to go back to Infinity's account. So, under this recordings tab, that's where that meeting that we just did is. It's right here. It gives you the start time, and it's processing right now. So it'll take a few minutes for it to pop up there, but it's saved. Unfortunately, I don't think we can rename these until they've been downloaded. So they can be downloaded, and then once they're downloaded, Gretchen or Monica or myself can rename them. But as far as in here, you'd have to know, okay, on Monday, March 23rd at 10:24, that was my class. And so we'll try to figure out, like Gretchen, Monica, myself, we'll try to figure out the best way to organize these and to access these, but this is where they're all saved. And then we'll take care of making sure as these meetings are no longer needed that we just get them deleted out so it's not clogging up or saving in the cloud, using up that memory in there. Other than that, there's not much else that you guys need to do. If you're having any difficulties, if you personally are having any difficulties, you can always ask me, Gretchen or Monica. You can ask me on GroupMe. You can text or call me. I'm working from home right now. I'm almost entirely at home, so I'm available most of the time to be able to help you guys. And same with your students and your parents. If they're having a difficult time with this, I'm happy to even hop on the phone and talk them through it. It's not a problem. We want to make sure that this is very easily accessible to all of our families, so that way they don't have to worry about not being able to attend class right now.